Listen to me, you've been waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to focus on yourself. Well, here I am, giving you that permission, but let me be brutally honest with you. You never needed it. You were always allowed to choose you. You just didn't believe it. You were too afraid of being called selfish, too busy pleasing everyone else, too caught up in the noise of expectations that were never yours to carry. And now you're tired. You're overwhelmed, and you're wondering why nothing feels right. That's because you've been living disconnected from yourself. Every time you put someone else's needs ahead of your own, not from love, but from obligation, you chipped away at your identity. Every time you said yes when you wanted to say no, you trained your nervous system to betray itself, and now you're stuck in a loop, one that says if you're not constantly available for everyone else, you're failing. That is a lie. Let me tell you what's real. The minute you start showing up for you, not for them, not for their expectations, not for the version of you that plays small so others feel comfortable, everything starts to shift. Your energy changes, your confidence comes back, you get clarity because you're no longer clouded by noise that doesn't belong to you. Focusing on yourself isn't a luxury, it's survival. You can't keep burning yourself out and expect to thrive. That's not strength, that's self-abandonment. And you were not born to live in a constant state of depletion. Here's the deal, nobody's coming to save you. That's harsh, I know, but it's also liberating. Because once you accept that, you realize you are the only one who can rebuild your life from the inside out. You start waking up and asking, what do I need today? And then, for the first time in a long time, you actually listen to the answer. You start saying no to things that drain you. You start saying yes to the gym, to journaling, to eating better, to going to bed on time, to walking away from toxic relationships, to taking that scary step forward. You stop waiting for someone to validate you because you start validating yourself, and that changes everything. Because the moment you shift your focus inward, not in a narcissistic way, but in a necessary way, your external world starts to reflect it. The boundaries you set, they protect your peace. The goals you chase, they start getting closer. The respect you demand, you get it because you finally give it to yourself first. So stop waiting for permission. You already have it, you always did. You just needed to remember who the hell you are. People will call it selfish. They'll say you've changed, that you don't show up like you used to, that you're distant or unavailable. But let me tell you something, being depleted, distracted, and drained helps no one. Running yourself into the ground to make everyone else happy isn't noble. It's destructive, and let's be real, it's not sustainable. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't be your best for others when you're constantly abandoning yourself. You can't show up for your kids, your partner, your job, your goals when you're running on fumes. And yet, we glorify burnout like it's some kind of badge of honor. We applaud overextension like it proves your worth. That has to stop. Protecting your peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Saying no to people who cross your boundaries. That's called self-respect. Making time to rest, recharge, and reconnect with yourself. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. When you say, I can't give more right now, I need to take care of myself, that's not selfish. That's survival. We've been conditioned to think that constant availability equals love, that self-sacrifice is the highest form of giving. But here's what I've learned. The most powerful, loving thing you can do is to take care of yourself first so that when you show up whole. Not broken, not resentful, not exhausted, whole. And if people can't respect that, that's a reflection of them, not you. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always call you selfish the moment you set one. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand, because the people who truly love you, who truly want to see you thrive, they'll understand. They'll cheer you on. They'll support your growth. Look, I'm not talking about becoming self-absorbed. I'm not talking about shutting the world out forever. I'm talking about putting the oxygen mask on yourself first, so you can breathe, so you can think, so you can show up in your life with clarity and purpose, not chaos and resentment. You have to stop apologizing for taking up space in your own life. This is your time, your energy, your heart. You get one shot at this. And if you're not prioritizing yourself, your mental health, your emotional well-being, your dreams, then what are you even doing? The real strategy, it's not just time management, it's energy management, it's boundary enforcement, it's choosing yourself day after day, even when it's hard, even when it's unpopular. So the next time someone says you're being selfish, just smile. Because what they really mean is, you're no longer letting me drain you. And that's growth, that's healing, that's survival. Habits aren't just routines, they are who you're becoming. Every single day, you are casting a vote for the type of person you want to be, not with your words, but with your actions. You think hitting snooze is no big deal, skipping that workout just today, ignoring that quiet little voice inside telling you to do better. It all counts, it all adds up, because those tiny moments, those micro decisions are shaping you. Let me say that again. Every choice you make is either reinforcing the identity you want or pulling you further away from it. There's no neutral, there's no I'll start tomorrow without consequences. That thought alone, that mindset, it's a habit and it's holding you back. We've been taught to chase big change, massive overhauls, but the truth is, real transformation happens in the smallest moments. It's the 5 seconds between feeling resistance and choosing action. It's waking up and saying, I don't want to, but I'm going anyway. That's the difference maker. That's the separator. You want confidence, then show up for yourself consistently. You want discipline, then stop negotiating with your excuses. You want to feel better, then make better choices, not once in a while, but every single day. Because your habits are the proof of what you believe about yourself. You keep bailing on yourself. Your brain learns, I can't trust me. But you keep following through, no matter how small, and your identity starts to shift. You start to become someone who follows through, someone who shows up, someone who gets things done. And it's not just about the goals, it's about the process. You build your future in the present, in these quiet, unglamorous moments. When no one's watching, when you don't feel motivated, when it would be so easy to slide back into comfort. That's where your future is built. Look, you're not lazy, you're not broken. You're just stuck in patterns that aren't serving you. But here's the good news, patterns can be broken, habits can be rewired, you can choose differently, today, right now. And when you do, when you string together enough of those moments, you don't just change what you do, you change who you are. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for motivation to show up. It's not coming. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. You move first. The feeling follows. Because at the end of the day, your life is just the accumulation of what you do repeatedly. Make sure what you're doing is aligned with the life you want, not the life you're settling for. Stop waiting. Seriously, stop waiting for the right moment, the right mood, the right version of you to magically appear, waiting for someone to give you a sign, for life to feel less chaotic, for the fear to go away. I've got news for you. That moment, it's not coming. The stars won't align. The calendar won't clear. The fear won't vanish. And if you're waiting for that magical green light, you're going to wait your life away. Your life isn't on hold, you are. You've convinced yourself that it's not the time, that you're not ready, that you need more information, more clarity, more approval, and you've created this illusion that something outside of you needs to shift before you can move. But the truth is, nothing needs to change out there. Everything starts in here. You keep thinking that action comes after confidence, after certainty, after motivation. No, that's backward. Clarity doesn't come from thinking about it. It doesn't come from journaling about it for the 100th time. It comes from doing, from taking messy, imperfect, uncomfortable action and learning as you go. That's how you figure things out. That's how you grow. That's how you build momentum. and that's how you change your life. But the longer you stay stuck in your head, the heavier it gets. Overthinking becomes a prison. The what-ifs become chains, and eventually that hesitation turns into regret. Don't let that happen to you. The people you look up to, the ones who seem fearless, they're not waiting for the perfect moment, they're creating it. They're scared too. They doubt themselves too, but they move anyway. They act anyway, and that's what separates them. You don't need to know the whole plan. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next step, any step, because that step builds momentum. That step teaches you something. That step gives you feedback you can't get from thinking. Stop telling yourself the lie that you're stuck. You're not stuck, you're just scared, and fear is normal, but it's not a stop sign. It's a signal that you're on the edge of something important, something that matters, something that will grow you. So take the shot, make the call, apply for the job, start the side hustle, have the conversation. Book the trip, say yes, say no, say something, because your life is waiting on you. And once you realize that, everything changes. You stop hoping, you start creating, you stop waiting, you move. What you focus on expands. That's not just a motivational quote. That's neuroscience. That's how your brain works. Your mind is constantly scanning the world, looking for what you tell it to look for. So if you're focused on everything that's going wrong, guess what? Your brain will filter out anything that contradicts that story. It will only show you the drama, the problems, the pain, and you'll start to believe that's all there is. But shift your focus even slightly and everything begins to change. You focus on growth, you'll start noticing opportunities. You'll start seeing your own potential. You'll begin to realize you've got more control than you thought. You focus on healing, you'll find tools, people, and conversations that support that process. You focus on progress, even just one step forward, and suddenly you're building momentum. It's not magic. It's your mind doing what it was designed to do, but you have to direct it. You have to guide it. Because if you don't, the noise will take over. The distractions will hijack your attention. The comparison, the fear, the negativity, it's loud and it's constant. And if you don't consciously pull your focus away from it, it will drain every ounce of your energy. So here's what you do. Get your mind out of the noise and into your own lane, your own life, your own goals, your own healing, not theirs, not social media's, yours, because energy is not infinite. You've only got so much of it in a day, and where you place it matters. If you give your energy to worry, to overthinking, to what other people might think, you are robbing yourself of the fuel you need to build the life you want. You want to feel more powerful? Start by taking your attention back. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Where your attention goes, your future grows. You want different results? Then you've got to change your focus. You're not a victim of your thoughts, you're the director of them. And yes, it takes practice. You will slip, you will spiral, but every single time you notice your mind drifting into fear or negativity, that is an opportunity. That is your moment to pause, reset, and redirect. To say, nope, not today. I'm not feeding that story anymore. I'm choosing a different one. That's how you shift your state. That's how you reclaim your energy. That's how you take control of your life, one focused thought at a time. Because momentum doesn't come from doing a million things. It comes from doing one thing consistently, with intention, with focus, with purpose. So stop watering weeds and start nurturing growth. That's where your power is. That's where your future is, right where you decide to place your attention. This is the hard truth most people avoid. You can't keep living on autopilot and expect your life to magically change. You can't keep repeating the same behaviors, making the same choices, hanging around the same energy, and then act surprised when nothing improves. Change doesn't just happen. Transformation isn't passive. It demands something from you. It demands radical responsibility. You want a different life, then you have to start doing things differently. Period. You can't wake up every day dreading your routine, going through the motions, numbing your thoughts, and think somehow clarity or purpose will show up and knock on your door. It won't. You create clarity by moving, by making decisions that stretch you, by taking actions that scare you, by choosing the harder, more honest road, not the easy, familiar one that keeps you stuck. Do the uncomfortable. That's the work. That's the real work, saying no when it would be easier to say yes, walking away when your comfort zone screams at you to stay, starting over when your ego wants to hold on to what's safe. That's what it takes. That's the price of freedom. That's the cost of becoming the version of yourself you keep dreaming about. Look, we all want better health, better relationships, better results, but wanting is easy. Doing, that's the difference. The truth is, most people don't really want to change. They want to feel comfortable. They want growth without the pain, progress without the discipline, success without the sacrifice. But it doesn't work like that. You will not get different results doing the same things. You will not build confidence without facing fear. You will not heal without confronting truth. If you keep saying yes to everything and everyone but yourself, you will keep running in circles. Exhausted, frustrated, numb. You want a breakthrough, then you've got to break patterns. You've got to interrupt the cycle that's keeping you small. You've got to be willing to piss a few people off. You've got to stop asking for permission to live a life that feels right to you. Say no more often. That's not rebellion, that's alignment. Say yes to yourself. That's not arrogance, that's self-respect. Show up when you don't feel like it. That's not fake, that's discipline. The uncomfortable path is where real growth lives. That's where the breakthroughs are hiding. Not in the comfort zone, not in the routine, in the resistance. So if you're sitting there, frustrated with your life, ask yourself honestly, am I willing to do what it actually takes? Am I willing to change how I think, how I show up, how I move through the world? Because that is what's required. Nobody's coming to save you. No one's going to do it for you. But you can. You have everything you need. The power, the tools, the fire, it's already inside of you. You just have to use it.